Hey guys, my name's Pria. I'm a Kaiser University physician assistant student. I'm a year 1, and so I'm doing my didactic year. And Kendra asked if you guys could follow me around to see the day of a life of a PA student. So let's get started. So today we start around 10, and we have clinical medicine and surgery. So let's get some learning done. I just got done with my day. Today we only had clinical medicine and surgery and pathophysiology. So for both classes we were learning about hematology. And so typically after school I go home, I try to relax for like 30 minutes. That means, like, you know, getting food or watching a show or something like that. Sometimes I also work out after class, and after that I start studying. So yep, that's what I'm gonna go do now. So I'll talk to you guys later.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time on my channel, my name is Kendra and I'm a physician assistant in aesthetic medicine. I will be starting my new job in June and vlogging more about that as well. So welcome to my new series. It's going to be called A Day in the Life of a PA, if you haven't already noticed from the opening title thing. But yeah, so in the series I'm going to be interviewing and following around PAs in different fields for a little bit and asking them questions about what they do, what their schedule is like, and all that really fun stuff that I'm sure you guys want to know about. So from the few clips that you just saw, you saw my friend Pria, and she is a physician assistant at Kaiser University. I told her to take a few shots for me around school so I can give you guys a little brief overview of a day at school, but it was really short. So I met up with her afterwards to ask her a few questions. I'm really sorry about the background noise. I didn't realize how loud it was going to be outside, so I'm going to put in a few captions in case you can't really understand what she's saying, and let's get into that part now. So I'm here with Pria now. This is Pria.
Hi.
Okay, Pria, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So what do you mean? Filled out the first question. I'm from South Florida. I went to the University of Florida. I majored in biology, and I'm first year in PA school right now.
So for my viewers who I'm sure want to know what your stats were when you apply to PA school, well, okay, first of all, how many times have you applied?
I've applied twice.
Okay, and what were your stats this time around?
So my GPA was definitely my lowest point. I had like a 3.09, 3.1 maybe, and that was my overall GPA. My science GPA was like a 2.98, and then my GRE was a 310, and my patient care hours was over 5,000.
Between the first time and second time you applied, what do you think made the difference of you getting it?
I definitely improved my GPA, and I increased my patient care hours.
Okay. How did you go about increasing your GPA? Like, what did you do? Retake classes?
I retook classes, and I actually was in a master's program for medical science, so that boosted up my entire GPA, in both my overall GPA and my science GPA.
So how many schools did you apply to?
So the first cycle, I probably applied to like 10 schools, and then my second time, I applied to about like 20. That's a lot. It was an expensive cycle.
That's a lot of money, kids. All right, so let's get to school. What school do you go to?
I go to Kaiser University.
I went there too. Alright, and what semester are you in now?
I'm in my second semester of my first year.
Okay, so she's like super early into school, so I'm gonna ask her like some stuff, but she hasn't really gotten into the harder part of school yet. So she's like starting it now. So for your first semester, what would you say, or like, what was your experience with your first semester?
My first semester was just kind of learning how to study, being able to balance, just because my first semester is 9 classes, and typically in undergrad you take maybe 4 or 5 classes at most, so you're just like, whoa, can I balance all of these classes? So I would say the first semester is learning how to time manage and how to study effectively. But luckily with my program, the first semester is more of a review of what you learned in undergrad and then some new things.
What are some of those classes that are like a review?
We had anatomy, physiology, microbiology as our review classes, which were our main science core classes.
So what does a typical day of class look like for you? Like what time are you getting there, what time are you leaving, etc.?
So last semester we had typically like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We got a little spoiled where we had some days where we ended at like noon, so those are well missed right now.
Those are good days. We used to go to the beach on those days.
But now, like I was telling Kendra, we have days where we end at 8 p.m. just because of schedule, availability of our professors. So we have some days like that, and then we have some days where we end at 3, and some days where we end at 5. But most of the time it's like 8 to 5.
How many classes do you usually go through in one day?
Probably 3 or 4.
So far you've only been in like a semester and a half. How many would be like the maximum amount of exams you would have in one day?
Well, last semester they tried to be nice on us and they tried to only have 1 exam a day. But this semester we looked at the syllabus and we have at least like 3 exams a day.
Okay, and how many exams a day in a week?
Oh, in a week? At least 3 to 4.
So that's pretty much every freaking day.
Yeah.
So say you have, or have you had 3 in a day yet, or 2 in
No,
a day
not yet.
Not yet. Not yet, she hasn't had it. So what is your plan of attack going to be when that does happen?
So my plan this semester is not to be behind and to study every single day.
In terms of difficulty, how would you say PA school compares to undergrad so far?
Well, luckily my first semester wasn't too bad. I expected it to be like I'm crying every day because I'm so overwhelmed. But the way that they scheduled our program was a lot of review classes. So it wasn't as bad as I thought. But this semester, the second semester, I'm only on day 2 and I feel like I'm behind. So it's a lot of material definitely thrown at you at once this semester. So, yeah.
And every semester after.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world until you get to semester 2.
Stay
Not
positive.
semester 2, I'm sorry, year number 2.
Yeah.
Stay positive. So I guess your busier semesters are coming up. So how do you see yourself balancing studying and your life?
I've already told all my friends and family that you're not going to see me for a while, but everyone knows that school is my priority. So luckily I have a good support system and they're very understanding. But I think in order to be sane during PA school, you have to have some breaks. So I would try to do that possibly on the weekend, just because during the week, like I said, it's a full-time job, so you're very limited in how much you get to study after school. So yeah.
Do you work out?
I try to. Like every semester, I'm like, I'm gonna try to work out every day, but that's a little unrealistic for me. So I try to work out at least 3 times a week, and usually, definitely on the weekend, I get those in. But when it was finals week last semester, that was kind of put on the back burner.
That's good. I didn't work out at all. I stopped. So I guess on average, how many hours would you say
So if I end at 5, I usually take like a break from school, probably like an hour to 30 minutes to an hour, like eat, maybe watch a show. Yeah. And then from there, so probably like around 6, I study until like 10, 10:30, so probably like 4 hours a day. But on the weekend, and then I do wake up early, so I probably wake up around 5:30, and then I study until like 8 a.m. And then on the weekends, I wake up early on those days too, and I study until like 8 p.m. probably.
So she essentially studies all the time.
Yes, that's all I do.
Just to recap on didactic year of school, Pria is not that far into it. She is maybe into the 2nd semester of school, so it hasn't really picked up that much, but she did, mention her syllabus that she went over and how she has 3 to 4 exams a day, almost 4 to 5 days a week. So it's going to get really crazy. When it gets to that point, really figuring out time management is going to be the biggest thing for you. You really want to figure out how to schedule your days and get at least maybe 30 minutes an hour in for yourself to do something that you love doing, whether it be working out or cooking yourself dinner or going out and, I don't know, getting something for dinner, or getting, not lunch because you're probably in school, but figuring out that 30 minutes to an hour of time that you can give to yourself, because it's really important to keep up, your mental health, and yeah, it's just really important to keep up your mental health in school. It's really important. It can get very stressful. Obviously, if you need to vent to your friends, vent to your family. I did get a question of if I have ever considered giving up while in PA school, and I mean, yeah, obviously the thought crossed my mind. Maybe one time I had like an emotional breakdown because I was just so stressed and overworked and like so much information overload, but like really, it doesn't last that long, that thought, because you're like, hey, I put this much of my time and money into it already, like I'm gonna get through it. So I just want to go over a little bit of clinical year with you guys, since Priya's not quite there yet. So the transition from didactic to clinical year is easy breezy, to be quite honest. 2nd year, clinical year, is a year that everything just gets easier. So in 1st semester, you are memorizing, unfortunately, just to retain the information and vomit it onto a exam, basically. And then you're going so fast that you have a new subject within a few days, and how are you supposed to remember what you learned for your test 2 days ago? So my biggest tip for you guys is try in your 1st year to memorize in a way that you'll remember for a long term. I'm not the best person to ask for that. I relied very heavily on my short-term memory in 1st year, and my short-term memory was so good I could literally wake up the morning of the exams, study for the exam, and get an A. But if you ask me the next day questions from the exam, I might remember. 2 days later, there's no way I'm going to remember. So that's the key with didactic year, really trying to memorize for your long-term memory. Clinical year, it gets so much easier. For us, we spent about 6 weeks in each rotation. So you would go, it's essentially like you're working. You're doing whatever the shift is that your supervisor is doing, whether it be a PA or a doctor, that's your supervisor. And it's just a lot easier because it's more on your pace. I did study pretty much still every single day, but instead of studying for something different almost every few days, you're studying for the same thing for 6 weeks. So if you can imagine, the 2nd year, the studying is really geared more towards a long-term memory because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So say you started in internal medicine, which is a great place to start because you go over a lot of things in internal, and you're just studying the same thing every day. So the end of rotation exams are not that bad. You have been studying for 6 weeks, guys, as opposed to having a test every single day on maybe something different every single day. So everybody, once they're in PA school, they look forward to second year because it's just so much more manageable. I was able to start working out again in my second year, whereas in my first year I did not step foot in a gym at all. You can still do it though. I just did not time management or myself for that because I had my boyfriend, who is now my husband, and any downtime I had I spent with him or with my family or my friends. So yeah. So I'm not going to go too much into clinical year unless you guys want me to do tips on that. I can try to do it by field. Again, I graduated 3 years ago, so I still do remember, obviously. So the tips that I have, I can give to you guys, or I can make a frequently asked questions video just about clinical year of PA school. So you guys comment down below and let me know what you guys want to hear. Alright, so I also went on my Instagram and I asked you guys if you had any questions about PA school that I could answer for you. And so I'm going to do that now. Some of them don't pertain to PA school, so I'm just going to skip over those. And I'll have another video where I do another frequently asked questions video and you guys can ask me whatever you want, whether it has to do with PA school or not PA school, my life, whatever you want. We'll do that later on, okay? So let's get started. So one question is, what is your advice for clinical year and is there anything to watch out for? So my advice for clinical year is to get books that are for the field that you're going to be in. So for example, for emergency medicine, there's a lot of great resources that are just about emergency medicine. You want to read up on those beforehand and you know, pretty much every day so that you're just ready for the questions that you're going to get pimped on in your rotations. So yes, you get pimped in your rotations is what we call it. That just means they ask you questions. Another question that I got in relation to that same question is, how do I tell my preceptor I don't know? So say they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, you literally just say, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question, but I will look into it and get back to you. So that they know that you're going to go do the work and get the answer for them. So don't guess. Some people don't like for you to guess. It's better to just tell them you're not aware at this moment and you will look it up and you'll get back to them. Another question is it true if you go to PA school in a certain state, then that's where you have to work as a PA? That is not true. You can work in any state as a PA. Doesn't have to be where you went to school. You just apply to the licensing for whichever state it is that you want to work in. Is it possible to have a part-time job while you're in PA school? So for me, I did work on Saturdays during my first semester of PA school, but then after that I stopped. First semester for me and for most people is more like a review from college, so it wasn't very hard for me. But once Clin Med started and we were getting into all the different fields and it was information overload, I couldn't handle it personally. But there were a couple people in my class who did have to work part-time because they had, you know, a family to support. So if they were able to do it, kudos to them, and if they could do it, then you can do it if you have to. How to pay for PA school. So you can sign up for government loans, which is what I did and pretty much my whole entire class did. I think it's FSA or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but usually you sign up once you get into school and they go over that with you. So don't have to worry about that. Another question was, what was your biggest challenge during PA school? And I would say my biggest challenge during PA school was memorizing for long term, like I said before. It was hard for me to retain all the information when we were having tests on new subjects almost every single day. So when I took the practice PANCE, which is called the PACRAT, I did really crappy my first time, but after my second year, which is more repetitive information, you're retaining a lot better, I did so much better. So that was my challenge for me, and also obviously time management and figuring out how I could still have a life, which I did. I had a life, but I didn't do everything that I wanted to, such as like working out and stuff like that. How do you manage your study time? Any advice for those of us starting PA school? So again, your school is pretty set time depending on where you go. So for us, it was like 8 to 5 o'clock. So once school got out at 5, I would go home, I would eat, obviously, and then I would give myself a little bit of downtime maybe, and then honestly I would just study for the rest of the night. So it's really just managing the time that you have left over in the day after your classes. If having an agenda is beneficial to you, or even scheduling it on your phone, doing time blocks, giving yourself 30 minutes to an hour to do something that you want to do, and then spending the rest of the time studying. How do you stay motivated in school? So this is, I would say, a personal question. So you want to ask yourself, what is your goal? Why do you want to be a PA at the end of the day? So whatever those answers are for you are the things that you need to remind yourself when you're getting low, or you're losing hope, or you're just having a bad day. So really establishing what it is that you want to accomplish at the end will hopefully get you through PA school. How did your study habits change from undergrad? Ooh, I love this question. So in undergrad, I used to pull all-nighters, and like now that I finished PA school and I look back, I was like, why did I stay up all night? I have no idea. But so my study habits changed where in college I was studying a lot at nighttime, and then when I got to PA school, I realized I couldn't stay up as late as I used to in undergrad, which is really sad. But for me, waking up earlier was a better time for me to study. So I would wake up extremely early, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and start studying. But I would also study at night too. I just wouldn't push myself past the point of where I was tired and needed to get some sleep. Also, I was a very physical learner, so I like to write in the margins, I like to highlight. When I visually see something, I memorize it better. So I didn't think that any other way of studying would be beneficial or would be effective for me. So I did try other methods. I tried studying with other people. In certain subjects where it's more about understanding rather than memory, I would talk it out with my classmates, and I found that talking out processes was easy for me to remember as well. So you really just have to experiment with the different types of study methods that there are to see, either which one works best for you or which one works in the scenario that you're studying for, whether it be just straight memory or something that's more of an understanding. I also found that I still like to study with other people. In college, I used to study with at least one other person if I could, mostly because I just want somebody else suffering as much as I am right next to me, because it makes me feel better, and we can motivate each other to keep going, take some breaks and start quizzing each other and stuff like that. Was it easy to make friends there? Did you know anyone attending the same school? No, I didn't know anybody attending the same school that I went to. Everybody that I met was completely new to me. Before school even started, we had like a meetup at a restaurant where we all went and met each other. It's really easy to make friends. These people you're seeing every single day, so it's really hard to not make friends. One of my best friends I made in PA school. I was her bridesmaid at her wedding, and she was a bridesmaid in mine. And I still keep up with at least 2 or 3 people from school still. So yes, it's easy to make friends. What were your electives in PA school? So the only electives that you have, electives are in your clinical year, and those would be your choice for what field you want to do for your rotation. So both of mine were for plastic surgery. Did you have fun while in PA school, aka a social life? I'd say I had fun. I took out extra loans so that I could do whatever I wanted. Any downtime that I had, I spent with my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband. And I also traveled. We took some breaks. I know one of my friends that I mentioned, who I'm still friends with now, she's one of my best friends. We went to like Islands of Adventure one time. So yeah, there's some time for a social life. I personally don't like going out and like going to bars and stuff like that, but a lot of my classmates would go out together after like exams or finals or something. So it's definitely possible to have a social life. This has to be a question from somebody who's in school already. It says, does it get easier? This is straight hell. Yes, it gets easier. You just have to make it through your didactic year, and clinical year is a breeze. Didactic year is hell, I'm not gonna lie. It was definitely an eye-opener. It was so much harder than undergrad, but you can do it. If I can do it, if everybody who's graduated can do it, then you can do it too. Best and worst part about PA school. Best part, clinical year, making friends, learning what you're actually going to use in the world. Worst part, getting through didactic year. You can just put all didactic year into one worst thing. But you can do it. Did you dorm at PA school? So for me, I live like 25 to 30 minutes away from my school, so I just lived at home with my parents. But I know my classmates didn't dorm per se because we didn't have dorms at our school, but they stayed in apartments or townhouses around the school. If you fail a class, what happens? So for us, if you got 3 C's, you were automatically out of the program. I think if you got a C in a class or on a test, you went into like a remediation program. I can't really remember exactly what that entailed, but if you did like get a C in an overall class, you would go into remediation, or you had a chance where you could do this test, and if you passed it, then you got to stay, I think. But yeah, it varies by school, so you can't just go by what I say. Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. I'm sorry if it was really long. There was a lot of questions. But I hope you guys got a good idea-ish of what school is like. It is tough, but you can do it. You can definitely get through it. It's going to be a really long year, but it is definitely worth it in the end. Clinical year is so much easier, so just keep looking forward to that and reminding yourself of why you wanted to become a PA in the first place. Thank you again for watching. I look forward to doing my next video, and if you know anybody who would benefit from my channel, share it with them, hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you next time. I didn't mess up that much this time. Hey!